India's biggest podcast, bringing you India's smartest minds. This is the highlights channel of the Ranveer show. Welcome to the fastest learning experience on the world of Indian YouTube. There's a rapper who I follow. His name's Lil Dicky, and he's actually quite philosophical. And one of his videos talks about how he's having a conversation with a girlfriend of his, and they're discussing God, and she's a believer of God, and he's not. Like, he's an atheist. So he says that if God really created us, then why did he create the dinosaurs millions of years ago and then decide that, no, this is not fun enough, and then destroy them with like meteorites? So does that mean that we are just an outcome of fungus? Are we just fungus growing on
That's true.
Okay.
And let that bring some humility to the body identified ones. If you identify too much with your body, then you should know that your body is just an outgrowth of the first cells, the first primitive cells that grew under sunlight in a pool of cess. That's where we all come from, right? So that's what the body is. An overgrown amoeba, you could say, or fungus or bacteria, whatever. I mean, it should be as offensive as possible so that it drills some sense into us. In the dimension of the body, we are pretty ordinary and very little slimy beings. Right from that cesspool. In the dimension of consciousness, we are potentially the purest that is possible, purest beyond the mind's conceptualization. So pure that the mind cannot even envision that sacredness. We are that pure. But it depends on what you choose to be. If you choose to be the body, even the single-celled primitive organisms would be ashamed of you. We are so filthy, so dirty. Think of this sack of skin. What's underneath it? All kinds of things that you would find grossly repulsive if kept on this table. You'd run away if the contents of this skin sack are laid out on this table, won't you? There is excreta, there's urine, there is pus, there's bile, there are so many other chemicals and fluids and so much more. That is just repugnant to even think of, let alone look at. And yet we are so proud of the body. We keep talking of ourselves as we are nothing but the body. And the body is just in the vernacular you would say malmutra. That's what is within, right? You can cleanse your face, but just inside, the first thing in the alimentary canal is the saliva. And if you spit on someone, you know the consequences and you know how uncivilized that's supposed to be. And yet we behave as if we are pure things from the body. The body, if not maintained even for a day, starts stinking, does it not? Think of the corpse. You have to rush to cremate it. You are in a hurry. You are desperate to just somehow get rid of it. That's the worth of the body. And on the other hand, there is the consciousness, the purest and the highest and the absolutely sacred possible. Now, pick. The choice is yours. What do you want to be?
Consciousness is what is inside you after you close your eyes?
Consciousness is that which tells you that your eyes are closed. Not that you have to close your eyes. What is it that's behind the eyes and lets you know that the eyes are now closed? The eyes of a corpse are forever closed. Does the corpse know that? Is the corpse conscious of that? The corpse is not conscious of that. Consciousness is the thing behind the eyes that looks out through the eyes.
Do you want to talk about the soul?
Please.
Then where does the soul lie in this game of body?
The soul is a concept in the mind. There is nothing but the mind.
Okay.
There is nothing but the mind.
And the mind is different from the consciousness?
Mind and consciousness are synonyms.
Okay.
The soul, the spirit, all these are just concepts in the mind. Just concepts in the mind. You'll fall asleep. You'll remember anything called the soul? You won't. Had you not been taught the concept of the soul, would you have known it? You won't have. So all these are just concepts, definitions. Soul, spirit. There is only the mind, and then there is the content of the mind. The content of the mind. The content of the mind, unfortunately for us, is something very misplaced. We have filled up our minds with nonsense. Spirituality is about cleansing the mind. That does not mean refilling the mind with so-called pure or spiritual or sacred content. It simply means giving the mind a quality that makes it non-sticky. Now you put anything in the mind, it doesn't stick to the mind. Also, because nothing will stick to the mind, so all the things that come to the mind with the intention to stick around now find it no more useful to come to your mind. That way, now you are spared and blessed.
Like what? Like what are those things that come to your mind with the intention?
Think of a shopkeeper. Think of a shopkeeper. Why would he bombard you with advertisements? He wants the advertisements to remain here, linger around. If he somehow comes to know that in your mind, his advertisements won't stick, won't stay, would he waste his money advertising to you? And advertising has its costs, right? Why will he then choose you to target? He won't target you anymore and you're spared.
But what are those things? Like, could you give a daily life example of those?
See, the world is just like us. It's our mirror image. And just as we are unfulfilled beings, all the beings that you locate in the world are equally unfulfilled in their own ways. We are unfulfilled and ignorant, so we want to gain fulfillment through all kinds of random ways, random and devious ways. So what do? We use others as means to gain personal fulfillment. So I'm a shopkeeper. I look at you, I look at your pocket, and I think that if I can have a share of your pocket, I'll be fulfilled. I'm a man, you're a woman. I look at your body, and I say if I can lay my hands on your body, I'll feel fulfilled. That's what happens when you are unfulfilled. You become violent and exploitative. But if I come to know that the person in front of me is no more capable of being exploited, that person has become non-sticky. That person has become non-sticky. Therefore, he cannot be exploited. Will I bother myself with trying to exploit you anymore? I won't. Because I know this person is now useless. I'm a shopkeeper and I know that this person cannot be trapped. Will I even make attempts on you anymore? I won't. So you are spared.
If you enjoyed this video, just know that this channel was created to enhance and speed up your learning process. Some of India's brightest minds on India's biggest podcast, The Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips, so make sure you check out all our playlists.